Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor, and today we'll be reacting to Lauren Spencer Smith's debut album, Mirror. But before we hop into the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things music. If you don't know who Lauren Spencer Smith is, she is a young Canadian artist who I discovered this year via her collab with Gail and M. Bayhold called Fantasy. And if you watch my most streamed new releases of 2023 so far, you would know that that song made it into my top 10 most streamed so far. So if you haven't seen that, link up here. But she just dropped her debut album, Mirror, and she's already released, like, I think half the songs leading up to this. There are 15 tracks on here, but I've already heard Fingers Crossed, Fantasy, Narcissist, 28, Best Friend Breakup, Flowers, and That Part. So I think, if math tells me correctly, that leaves us with about 8 tracks that we'll be reacting to today. She has been teasing the, I guess, lead single from the album, which I don't know. I technically think the lead single is That Part, but she's also been teasing the single Bigger Person, so technically I have heard that on TikTok. But other than that, we haven't heard anything else, so without further ado, let's kick off this album reaction with the first song, the first track on the album, Never Been in Love.
I mean, I've had a few boyfriends, just didn't enjoy them too much. Think it was more for convenience than any real feelings about us. I'll never be in love.
Okay, so far, obviously, it says here that she's 19 years old, and if we've learned anything, especially from Speak Now TV, falling in love at 19 is apparently not a good idea. No one really stays with their 19-year-old partner, but she's talking about how she's never been in love, not in the way she wants at least, or at least she's looking for a love that she has yet to expect or see, you know, come to fruition, and all the past partners that she has had apparently have been just for convenience or just to take the place of this love that she eventually wants. So sounds great so far.
I swear I think I'm ready. Gave me someone who will stop me on an airplane. To be my first experience. I know I'm young, but it's so dumb.
I know it's young, but it's so dumb that I've never been in love. Well, let's see. Me at 19 and still me at 23 has never been on a date in her life. Having said that, I do think I did experience love or had fell for someone really, really hard before I got out of high school. So I guess technically before 19 I had been in love, but it depends on what you classify as love. I'm a Pisces, I feel my feelings hard, so there's that. But you're 19. I don't think it's that out of the ballpark that you've never been in love. It would be shocking to me if you ever had been in love, to be honest.
When I was growing up, my only example were people who handled it wrong.
I can relate to that, in that your family is not necessarily the greatest role models when it comes to relationships. Because I say, with the exception of one relationship in my family, I'd say every other one is very much so the beacon of what not to do and red flags to look out for. So connect with that one. Searching for your first experience. I will say, never been in love with someone who's loved me back, or never been in love enough to make it last. So that whole one-sided feeling, that young, like, it's like, oh God, the unrequited love. I think, especially when we're young, we often try to search out those needs for those first experiences because we think everyone's having these first experiences, even if they're the most mundane of, like, the first date or the first, like, first meet cute. When in reality, like, a lot of people, particularly a lot of Gen Z in our generation, are pushing off those first experiences, and no one has a timeline on when those happen. But up next is track 2, the next track we haven't listened to, and that is Love is an Overstatement. Curious about what that means.
Myself almost of getting too close. It's always on your tongue, but they are never there. Words, but I let it slide. You only mean about half the time. It's not my fault. You can't decide.
Okay, so it already sounds like we're dealing with some red flags, toxic people, which she kind of discusses in the songs that I've already listened to, with like Fingers Crossed and Narcissist, etc. And talking about, particularly there's like 3 words, but you only mean it half the time, of like kind of just like saying them because this is what someone wants to hear, or sort of love bombing them, if that's the possibility of what they're experiencing at the beginning of the relationship, of just like, yeah, you're the only one for me, I'm in love with you, just to like placate them, to keep them there, especially with young people kind of like feeding into the fantasy of what they want and that first love that they want without actually giving it to them. So, sounds great so far. I will point out her vocals are always on point. I love her vocals. That's what keeps me really entranced in what she does. And obviously her lyrics. I've cried. I've cried to a fair few of her songs that I've listened to so far.
Love is an overstatement, but when you it's complicated sometimes. It's not when you crossed it, if there was a feeling about it. You
So
know,
love is an overstatement. This relationship is a bunch of complicated things that happen. You crossed the line. It's like basically whatever this person has gone through, and basically it's just kind of ended what could have been and made things way more complicated than they needed to be in the end. And would it be so great if we could all go back and hopefully make better decisions, but we can't.
you treat me badly and patronize me. Say I'm 17, like that's the reason.
You patronize me and you treat me badly, you patronize me and say I'm 17, like that's the reason. I'm getting the vibes that she's dating an older person. And as having coming off, reacting, listening to Speak Now, Taylor's version of like, girl, step away from the older toxic energy, because we know they love to patronize you and appease you and fill you with all these ideas that, you know, they do just to keep you in line.
It's not like I'm devastated.
Okay, great song. I will add, I do wish that she did more bridges. Maybe this is just me loving a good bridge, but she doesn't really do a lot of them in her songs. I mean, everything sounds great. I think I just like that extra bridge and it kind of interjects and gives us new information. But the next 3 tracks, Fingers Crossed, Fantasy, and Narcissist, have all been released and I have heard them before. So up next is a song that she's been teasing all over TikTok, and that's Bigger Person. It's only 2 minutes and 41 seconds, but from the lyrics that I have heard, sounds like it's gonna be a gut punch, so.
When you'd yell, I would stay silent. You never noticed I was quiet. I was taught that speaking up was talking back.
Okay, this is already filled with a bunch of things to talk about of like, I was told that speaking up was talking back. Family. I feel like if you come from a specific family or just like being raised by a specific generation, I feel like a lot of Gen Z was raised by Gen X, and we may be dealing with the backlash of that. Just reminder, sticking up for yourself is not talking back. If that person wants to make you the villain of their story, that's fine. Just understand that that's going to happen for most of your life, and you're going to have to be okay with that. And then it's a lose-lose where I don't choose. Like, I would say sorry just to, like, keep you happy. You do not owe anyone your happiness but yourself. You do not owe anyone happiness but yourself. Let's listen to this bridge.
I shouldn't have to be the bigger person. How come I have to break to keep us working?
I shouldn't have to be the bigger person, but I'll take the blame just because you want me to. In relationships, in any form, romantic, platonic, like blood relative relationships, there should be a form of equality and respect between people. You shouldn't have to be made to have to be the bigger or the lesser person in any situation. But I've found that that tends to happen, especially with people who are stuck in their ways and are just do not want to learn. Granted, I'm the person who, in the end, I know I'm always the person who's probably going to choose to be the bigger person, in the sense that I'll probably be the one to leave the situation. So, again, making me the villain of most people's stories, I feel like, but there's that.
I always think it's over, but it never is. 'Cause I can't get the closure when you're like this. I will be the bigger person, 'cause I'm getting tired of bearing all your burden.
Maybe this time you'll be the bigger person because I'm tired of carrying your burden. I don't, in most cases, in my experience, especially with people who you've been fighting with for a while, who've made it very obvious they are opposed to change, I don't think this is going to happen. But man, did I feel that one. And we got a bridge. We got a bridge that I wanted in a shorter song, so I'm loving it. Well, that one lyrically hit in a way that is very painful. Even if I'm not crying. I think I cried myself out last night. But up next track that I haven't listened to yet is number 7, Aftermath, and we are approaching the midway point of the album, so I'm wondering if we're going to start to see shifts in vibes.
How did I become the toxic one? I keep on trying to unlearn the person I become. Why did they convince me I was wrong? Only kiss me when I had my makeup on. And no one ever talks about the aftermath.
So kind of where I thought this was going with, she's talking about all of the damage and changes that occurred during this very toxic relationship that she is now having to work through and get over, and how in the end no one really talks about the aftermath or the blowback from these types of relationships and how she's having to handle and deal with that. Sounds great so far. So it's a short song and we're already halfway through, so I'm not expecting too much more to go off on this song, but lyrically amazing.
I knew you were the problem, now I'm the one with problems, so I'm still stuck in therapy.
Well, that was a beautiful song. But that's track 7, and then track 8, 28, and track 9, Best Friend Breakup, I've already listened to. Given that we've kind of hit the point where she's now dealing with the blowback of the relationship and we're moving into things of like, you're with a new person, just lost my best friend, I'm wondering if track 10, Too Hurt to Fall in Love, is her kind of exploring new relationship territory or not. So yeah, track 10, Too Hurt to Fall in Love.
It's just like a movie, my favorite scene. I never thought this would happen to me. Hope my broken heart won't mess it up. But what if I'm too hard to fall in love?
So this is similar to Aftermath, only in this occasion, she is now dealing with the aftermath of the next person that you are possibly about to fall in love with, who is now actually confronting you with the possibility of being treated right, but because of your past, like, traumas and problems, you're still kind of going through all of these coping mechanisms and, like, gut reactions that you may not necessarily have to in this relationship, but you have to for your own personal sanity.
I don't want to overthink it all. I don't want to ask for reassurance when you call.
Beautiful vocals on the end there. Quite a nice short song. But up next is track 11, and it's called Hey, and I have no idea where that could be going.
You're kinda loud and I kinda like it, cause I'm kinda loud and you don't make me hide it. We've even got all our friends thinking we're a match.
Okay, so I think this is a cute love song that we're getting. So, you know, good for her. Finally, she's got some cutesy love song. I mean, we have that part in here, which is like a real, like, lovey-dovey song, which I did react to. I'll link to that video up there. But yeah, happy for her. Track 11, we finally got to, like, happiness and happy songs.
So hey, tell me that you'll stay till the end, cause I don't wanna go from me, love, just a friend.
So it's basically talking about, I guess, in Too Hard to Fall in Love, where they were kind of both interacting in a way that coincide with their past toxic relationships and how that kind of maybe affected their more healthy current relationship. And she's like, hey, let's not pretend that we can be friends again, or that we don't want to be together after even if we've put each other through this, like, emotional time in our life. So that's cute.
I don't know is what I've seen before, cause when I get too much, they just walk out the door. I'm scared to commit cause I don't know if you could resist. I got used to second guessing, you got used to coming second. Just give us a second to unlearn all that we've learned. So it's hard, but loving it's harder.
Well, she's been holding these bridges back for the album. That's what she was doing, but that bridge was chef's kiss, beautiful. You know, heartbreak is something that none of us want to go through. Well, we've moved on to the love songs. So that was cute. That one's just like, let's try to work past all of our issues to make this work. Then track 12 and 13 I've already listened to, Flowers, and that part, like I said, I have a reaction already up for that part. But we're going to react to the album closers, which is ILY, so I Love You, and Do It All Again. So I'm going to guess that we're going to end on some love songs, which, given the themes of the album, sounds like a happy time. So let's listen to track 14, ILY.
Isn't it? Really hope I'm not overthinking it.
There's a real theme on this album of her trying to not overthink, so that's just something that I caught in Relatable Girly.
I wish I could say it, but scared it will change us, and I'll say it first if you do.
So basically they've been friends for a while, or they've been in this limbo for a while where no one says I love you, and she's like, well, I'll make the first move, like, let's go. I was like, I love you, do you love me too?
I love you. Do you love me too? Know that you want to. Let's say it together, yeah, I love you.
It's a cute love song, and I don't know that I have much more to say about that. Then track 15, the closing track, Do It All Again, is the longest song on the album, so I'm curious to see what all it sounds like, what we're gonna do. I have a feeling from the title that I know what it's gonna be like, but let's see.
Cause I finally had a chance to realize that what you put me through was everything I needed.
Well, true warning there for suicide. But with, I don't know if I'd want to do it all again, but at least he found the good. Found the good in goodbye. Found the good in things turning around.
Oh, I'm thankful that I lost you, cause I found every part of me.
Okay, that's better. I'm thankful that I lost you. Good for you. Good and goodbye. Goodbye to sad, toxic people.
I hope you see that's half the truth. I thought you meant to hurt me. Now I know you didn't mean it. So if I ever think of us, I think of when the good part was. I ain't taking therapy, but I bought my mother house from the heartbreak royalties.
Heartbreak royalties. Get your bag, girl. But also, is at least, like I said, good and goodbye. I love that she's at least taking this approach of like, looking at all the good of things that came out of this bad situation. So she ended that song with a call back to her song Fingers Crossed, which I've already listened to. So I kind of like the way that she decided to work her way back around to one of her first and most popular songs and sort of calling it back of like, I'm so glad that in the end we weren't meant to be because I found this other part that's so much happier. But yeah. As you're seeing this video, it's probably been a few days, so here is what's probably going to be my final-ish ranking. I am actually not sure. I'm quite sure Fantasy, because, you know, my love for Fantasy will probably be #1 or near the top. I really do love Best Friend Breakup. That's a great one, but I need to listen to the album a few more times to kind of figure out where all of the new songs will end up. But yeah, let me know what your favorite song on the album was, what you thought of the entire project, and what would you like me to react to next.